This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Habayim. We have a number of questions at hand. We just learned Siman Samach, Siv Daled, where the Mechaber brought down two deos, whether mitzvos tzrichas kavana or not, and he concluded that mitzvos require kavana, which the Be'er Halacha said midoraisa mitzvos tzrichas kavana. Mishna Berura said, which means that if someone did it without kavana, they have to do the mitzvah again. And there was a kula of the Chai Adam that if one is in a situation where why else is one doing the mitzvah? For example, where if it's muchach lefi ha'inyan that you're doing it kedei latzeis, even if you're not mechavim befeirush, we say b'stama your yotzei. But it has to be if it's in the context of doing the mitzvah. For example, somebody goes to shul and they say Shema, so then even if they weren't mechavim explicitly, we say why else were they doing it? But if there could be some other context, then this does not necessarily apply. We also saw there's a machlokes whether mitzvos d'Rabbanan need kavana. And the conclusion was indeed mitzvos d'Rabbanan do need kavana. So we have a number of questions that we wanted to that we still have to iron out. Number one, so if every mitzvah d'Rabbanan needs kavana, then davening shachris mincha marav is a d'Rabbanan, according to everybody. Even the Rambam holds tefillah d'oraisa, once a day is d'oraisa. Now, does that mean according to the Rambam that at least once a day someone has to be mechavein to mekayim the mitzvah of tefillah, and if they're not mechavein to mekayim the mitzvah of tefillah, they didn't daven? That means today, did everyone make sure before they davened, I'm mechavein to mekayim the mitzvah of tefillah? If not, you weren't yotzei tefillah. What about mincha marav, shachris mincha marav, which is d'Rabbanan? Does the person have to be mechavein to mekayim the mitzvah of shachris mincha marav? What about every bracha? Every bracha is a mitzvah d'Rabbanan. Before each bracha, does one have to be mechavein to mekayim the mitzvah of that bracha? By the way, it would come out, let's say, before Natilas Yadayim in the morning, or before Natilas Yadayim on bread. We hold that you were mitzvah tzrichas kavana. If you were not mechavein to mekayim the mitzvah of Natilas Yadayim, then you weren't yotzei. Does that mean you ate bread without washing your hands? Let's say a person learned all day and they were not mechavein to mekayim the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. So you're not mekayim the mitzvah, but is it bittul Torah? Were you mevatel Torah? So again, according to the Chai Adam, maybe b'diavad you're yotzei, but not according to the Chai Adam. Is it bittul Torah? Okay, we have to look into all these things. Sifhei. Hakorei es Shema, one who reads the Shema, v'lo kivein libay b'pasuk rishain, shehu Shema Yisrael. Someone who reads Shema, and he's not mechavein in his heart in the first pasuk, which is Shema Yisrael, lo yatsi yidei chayvasai. So this is a new kind of kavana. This is not kavana to be yotzei the mitzvah. This is kavana perish hamilos. So someone who said Shema and he was not mechavein in the first pasuk, he's not yotzei. V'hashar, the rest of Shemaim, loy kivein libay, if he was not mechavein, afilu hayakari b'Torah, even if he's reading in the Torah, or magia haParshiyos, or being magia the Parshiyos ha'elu, ba'oinas Krias Shema yatsa, v'hu shekivein libay b'pasuk rishain. So the rest of Shema kavana is not ma'akev, even if you were reading in the Torah or correcting the Parshiyos, as long as you had kavana in the first pasuk. Says in Mishna Berura, what kavana are we talking about here? Kivein li by kavana zu hamura kana inenu hakavana hamura b'sif daled. It's not the kavana of sif daled. Deshamhu hakavana latzei sidei chayvas mitzvah. There it's the kavana to be yotzei the chiv of the mitzvah. Zeh be'inan l'chol haparshiyos, that you need for all the parshiyos. Kamei shekasav haritva, Rosh Hashanah, v'shitim kuvetzes and brachos. Ma she'en kein kavana zu, as opposed to this kavana, hu lehizboinein v'lasam aliba, is to contemplate and to think ma shu omer, what you're actually saying, the meaning of the words. Therefore, it's ma'akiv in the first pasuk. Okay, so now we're talking about Perish Hamilos. The first pasuk is the ikar kabbalas malchus shamayim and being miyached Hashem. Some say she'afilu kavana latzeis hu le'ikuva rak b'pasuk rishon. Some say even kavana to be yotzei is also only ma'akev in the first pasuk. In other words, the kavana to be yotzei, the mitzvah, that's also ma'akev only in the first pasuk.
What does the other side mean? That's l'chol parshios. That means the entire Shema, every single word you're saying, you have to have in mind. Aside from parshios, you have to have in mind you're being out to the mitzvah every minute.
Yeah, good question. Unless he means the kavana. Let's say when a person's mechavin to mekayim the mitzvah of Shema, let's say their kavana is, I have kavana to be yotzei the mitzvah of Shema with the first pasuk. Or let's say somebody woke up in the second pasuk and said, you know what, I wasn't mechavin to mekayim the mitzvah of Krias Shema, I'll be mechavin now to be mekayim the mitzvah of Shema. You're out. So it's ma'akiv to have that kavana before the first pasuk. Yeah, it's not clear what he's saying. Oy ma'giav hu shekare kilchasa. Now, the Mishna Berura is saying that Perish Hamilos is ma'akiv in the first pasuk. He says this later on Siman Samach Beis. Rav Moshe says like this: this kavana that you need to mechav in Perish Hamilos, it includes that when you say Hashem Elokeinu, you're mekabel ol malchus shamayim. In other words, Rav Moshe holds that part and parcel of Perish Hamilos is kabbalas ol malchus shamayim. So that means you only have to have two kavanos. Kavana number one is kavana kidei latzeis. And kavana number two is the Perish Hamilos. Part of the Perish Hamilos in the words Hashem Elokeinu is kabbalas malchus shamayim. Rabbi Yoshev says no. The kavana to mekabel ol malchus shamayim is a third kavana. By the way, Rabbi Kiva Eger's shita is that even kavana of Perish Hamilos is not ma'akev in the first pasuk, only kabbalas malchus shamayim. Now, we learned earlier in Siman Hey Sivkat and Gimel that according to the Gra, that by Shema Yisrael you need to be mechavein haya, hoive, v'yiyah. So that seems to mean that, let's say when you say Shema, you just said Shema Yisrael, listen Klal Yisrael, Hashem, and you just thought Hashem. So the shita of the Gra is seemingly you would not be yotzei. You have to think Hashem is Adoin Koil, Haya Hoivaviyah. Rav Moshe has a chiddush. Rabbi Yoshev agrees that b'diavad, if you just think Hashem, you're yotzei. What about the pasuk of Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus L'Olam Va'ed? Later on, we're going to see it's Bechlal, the first pasuk, and if you're not mechavein to the Perish Hamilos, you have to say Shema again. Okay, Siman Samach Aleph. Din Kama Tzarich L'Daktik L'Cham B'Kriyas Shema. How careful one has to be in Kriyas Shema. Yikra Kriyas Shema. You need to say Shema b'kavana, with intent, be'ema, with awe, be'yira, with fear, bereses, with trembling, vazeya, with shaking, in a state of great reverence. Shema. Now this halacha that you need to say Shema, be'ema, be'yira, bereses, vazeya, says in Mishna Berura, hainu kol kriya Shema. the whole Shema. Demashnesbar b'soif siman hakoidem hurak le'inyan diavad. That which is explained in the end of the previous siman is only b'diavad. B'kavana, the Eliyah Rabbah hevi b'shem hakolbai. The Eliyah Rabbah brings in the name of the kolbai. V'hu b'Yushalmi soif parakam debrachos. And it's Yushalmi at the end of the first paragraph. The Krias Shema Merumaz Asar Sadibros. In Krias Shema is Merumaz Asar Sadibros. Hashem Alekeinu. In the words Hashem Alekeinu, Merumaz Anochi Hashem Alekecha. Now, if you look at the Moslik Midvash Siddur, if I'm not mistaken, they have on the word Shema Yisrael, Anochi Hashem Alekecha. But here he says, Hashem Alekeinu Anochi Hashem Alekecha. Hashem Echad Dibur Lo Yi'elecha Uvepasik V'Yahavta Merumaz Dibur Lo Sisa. So in other words, Hashem Elokeinu, there's one God. Hashem Echad, no other God. V'Yahavta, don't swear falsely. By the way, another important thing, when you say V'Yahavta, you should be mechavein to be mekayim the mitzvah of Avas Hashem. Now that's very important. If at least once a day a person is required to mekayim the mitzvah of Avas Hashem, l'chatchila it should be when you say the words V'Yahavta is Hashem Lekecha. However, if you're not able to have that kavanah, then at least once a day you need to be mekayim the mitzvah of Avas Hashem. The Shmiras Halashon writes that one should not eat in the morning until they know they're mekayim that mitzvah. Okay, then Mishna Berura continues. What does loving Hashem have to do with not swearing falsely? Demand deracham l'malka, someone who loves the king, lo mishtaba b'shmei l'shikra, does not swear in his name falsely. Uve pasuk uchsavtam al mezuzos dibor lo sachmaid. Don't covet someone else's house. D'chsev beisecha v'lo beis chavirecha. Your house, not your friend's house. Uve pasuk v'yasafta deganecha. Gather your grain, dibur loy signav, don't steal. Degancha v'loy sesav degan chavirecha, your grain, not the grain of your friend. Uve pasuk va'avadetem mehira, dibur loy sertzach, don't murder. Demand dekatel yiskatel, one who kills will be killed. So va'avadetem mehira is the punishment for murder. Uve pasuk leman yirbo yimechem, dibur kabedes avicha. Uve pasuk v'loy sasuru, acharei einechem, loy sinaf, dibur loy sinaf. Uve pasuk leman tizkeru, v'gomer dibur zachas yom haShabbos. Shu shakol k'chal ha'Torah. So when you say leman tizkeru, you should remember Shabbos. Now, anyway, even without this Yushalmi, when you say the words leman tizkeru, you should remember Shabbos. Shabbos is one of the Sheish Zechiros. And Me'ikar Hadin, one is supposed to remember it during Krias Shema. Uve pasuk ani Hashem Elokeichem, dibur lo yisana v'reyacha et shaka. When you say ani Hashem Elokeichem, don't testify falsely. Al kein sarcha adam l'zbayim behem be'ez amiros Krias Shema. Therefore, a person has to think about it when they say Shema, kedei shelo yavai laver al achas mehem, not to violate any of them. So I highly recommend you go out today and you buy yourself the Siddur Masuk Midvash. Why? Because it tells you where in Krias Shema each one of the Asar Sadibros is. It's available in better Svarim stores near you. It has many, many other good features. Like in Ava Rabbah, it tells you where to be Makayim, the Sheish Zechiros. So it's a good siddur to have. Also, it tells you what kavanah to have when you do the Krias, the 4 Krias of Shemona Esrei. There are a lot of good stuff in there. Be'ema v'yira. V'nira de'ema v'yira zuhui ba'ofen zeh. What does be'ema v'yira mean? Sheyechavein b'sha shu karei es-Shema. That you're mechavein at the time you say Shema, lekabel olav malchus shamayim, to accept upon yourself the yoke of heaven. Liyos nerag al kiddush Hashem amyuchad. That if ever put to the ultimate test, one would give up their life. Al kiddush Hashem. Dezehu b'chol nafshecha. That's b'chol nafshecha. Afilu noitos nafshecha. V'al zeh amar hakasav ki alecha hayragnu kol hayom. The pasuk, we are killed for you every day, is referring to Krias Shema. Ki az bekavana zu yikra'ena be'ema v'yira v'resas v'zeha. Meaning the Mishna Berura is explaining a fundamental requirement of Shema. Why is Shema supposed to be read? Be'ema b'yura b'reses of Azayah. And that's because you're supposed to be makabel o malchus shemaim to the extent that if ever put to the ultimate test, you would give up your life al kiddush Hashem. Now, when is the correct time to have this kavanah? Because the Mishna Berura says we learn it from b'chol nafshecha. On the other hand, this is going back on the beginning of Shema. When is a person supposed to think that they would give up their life al kiddush Hashem? Chai Adam says in the name of the Zayar, right after you say the word echad. Furthermore, one is supposed to imagine as if they would be in a great fire and they're actually giving up their life al kiddush Hashem. Besides that, the Chai Adam says, when you say Uv'chol nafshecha, should be mechavin to mekayim the mitzvah saseh of avas Hashem afilu noitel es nafshecha. So that means, Rabbi said, when a person says Shema, the first pasuk, there are three kavanas to have. Kavana number one has to have kavana to mekayim the mitzvah of Shema. Number two, one has to accept upon themselves oil malchus shamayim. Kavana number three is one should think if ever put to the ultimate test, they would give up their life al kiddush Hashem. Those are the three basic required kavanos that one has to have before Shema. Okay, so it's going to take time. It's going to take time. And then when you say v'ahavta, you should have kavana to mekayim the mitzvah of avas Hashem. And when you say b'chol nafshecha, you should think you love Hashem so much, you would even give up your life for avas Hashem. So actually, so let's make it simple, and then we'll take it to the next level. The simple kavanos of Shema are three: kavana to mekayim the mitzvah of Shema, kavana to accept o malchus shamayim, and kavana to give up one's life al kiddush Hashem. Those are requirements. Now, if you want to add to that, it is correct and also proper that when you say v'ahavta Hashem lekecha, to be mechavein, to be mekayim the mitzvah of avas Hashem. And when you say b'chol nafshecha, you should think that your avas Hashem goes so far you would give up your life. But I already did that. No, you did that to be mekayim oil malchus shamayim to the extent you'd give up your life. This is a little bit different. You're mechavein that you love Hashem, that you would even give up your life. So you might want to start Shema just a little bit ahead of the tzibur to be able to, because as important as this is, the reason you're coming to shul is to start Shema Esrei with the tzibur. So you're gonna want to move things up. Okay, Rabbi Isai, have an amazing day. Bracha v'atzlacha.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.